Number 1 is Persona 5 Royal, a stylish JRPG that demands patience through its lengthy tutorial sections. The first few hours introduce you to turn-based combat, social simulation mechanics, and dungeon crawling at a deliberate pace. Once the game opens up, you're rewarded with an incredibly deep experience featuring memorable characters, strategic battles using personas with different elemental attacks, and a compelling narrative about reforming corrupted adults. The stylish presentation and addictive gameplay loop make the slow burn worthwhile. Next up at number 2, Red Dead Redemption 2 starts with a deliberately slow and methodical opening in the snowy mountains. The hyper-realistic approach means you'll spend hours in tutorials learning basic mechanics before the world truly opens. However, this measured pacing becomes the game's greatest strength, allowing you to appreciate the stunning open world, engage with deep character development, and experience one of gaming's most emotional stories. The peaceful moments make the intense action sequences hit harder. Third on the list is Death Stranding, notorious for its incredibly slow first 10 hours. You'll spend this time learning complex delivery mechanics, navigating difficult terrain, and sitting through lengthy cutscenes that can feel confusing and dry. Most players who quit do so within the first 4 hours. Push past Chapter 3 though, and you'll discover a genre-defying experience with satisfying traversal gameplay, meaningful online cooperation, and a wild sci-fi narrative that justifies the initial investment. Number 4 brings us Yakuza Like a Dragon, which takes roughly 5 hours before your party expands beyond solo play. The opening chapters establish protagonist Ichiban's backstory and his 18-year prison sentence at a painfully slow pace. Story progression feels sluggish in early chapters, and you can't even change character jobs until many hours in. Once the full party assembles and systems unlock, you're treated to a charming turn-based RPG with fantastic characters, engaging combat, and the series' signature blend of drama and absurdity. At number 5, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth struggles with inconsistent pacing throughout its massive open-world structure. Major narrative moments are either spaced too far apart or crammed together, and the opening hours throw numerous minigames and tutorials at you. The game inherits pacing issues from the original 1997 title, particularly during the middle act. Despite these issues, the combat system, character development, and stunning visuals create an epic experience once you adapt to its rhythm and learn to balance main story with optional content. Coming in at 6 is God of War Ragnarok, which starts with an hour where you only control about 20 minutes of actual gameplay. The rest consists of unskippable cutscenes and linear sequences that limit player agency. You're immediately thrown into difficult boss fights that demand mastery of parrying mechanics. The first 2 hours feel restrictive and slow, but once the world opens up and you gain freedom to explore the 9 realms, the combination of satisfying combat, Norse mythology, and the father-son dynamic makes it worthwhile. Number 7 features Cyberpunk 2077, which underwent a remarkable transformation since its rocky launch. The lengthy prologue varies depending on your chosen life path, and the initial hours in Night City can feel overwhelming with systems, mechanics, and information dumps. The main story takes time to gain momentum as you establish V's character and relationships. Once you're past the opening act and the world opens up, you experience a breathtaking RPG with branching narratives, intense combat, memorable characters, and a living, breathing city. At number 8, Baldur's Gate 3 presents a daunting opening for newcomers to CRPGs. The initial hours involve character creation with overwhelming options, complex turn-based combat rules, and dense dialogue trees. The opening area on the Nautiloid ship throws mechanics at you rapidly. Stick with it through the tutorial sections and into Act 1, and you'll discover one of the deepest RPG experiences available, with meaningful choices, incredible writing, tactical combat depth, and near infinite replayability through different character builds and story paths. Number 9 is Alan Wake 2, a survival horror experience that starts with slow-paced investigation segments and confusing narrative structure. The game alternates between 2 protagonists, FBI agent Saga Anderson and the titular Alan Wake, with the opening hours heavy on atmosphere building and light on action. The deliberate pacing and mind-bending storytelling might feel tedious initially. Push through and you'll experience a masterfully crafted psychological thriller with innovative gameplay mechanics, stunning visuals, and a narrative that rewards patient players with unforgettable payoffs. 10th on the list, Horizon Forbidden West begins with a lengthy tutorial reintroducing mechanics from the first game at a cautious pace. The opening hours restrict your access to the full skill tree and weapon arsenal while slowly expanding the map. Early story beats feel predictable as Aloy sets out on another quest to save the world. Once you reach the titular Forbidden West and unlock advanced weapons and skills, the game delivers thrilling machine battles, gorgeous post-apocalyptic landscapes, and an engaging sci-fi mystery. Number 11 brings Ghost of Tsushima, which starts with a devastating Mongol invasion, but then settles into a slower tutorial phase. The first act carefully introduces you to combat stances, stealth mechanics, and open-world activities across Tsushima Island at a measured pace. Early story missions can feel repetitive as you liberate similar outposts. Persevere through these opening hours and you're rewarded with one of the most beautiful open-world games ever made, featuring satisfying samurai combat, meaningful moral choices, and stunning Japanese-inspired visuals. At number 12, Elden Ring presents a brutally punishing opening that can feel hopeless for newcomers to From Software games. You're dropped into the world with minimal guidance, facing enemies that can one-shot you while learning obtuse mechanics. The first several hours involve dying repeatedly as you figure out where to go and what to do. Once the combat clicks and you understand the open-world structure, you discover a masterpiece of exploration and challenge with incredible boss fights, deep lore, and that signature soul satisfaction. Number 13 features Dragon's Dogma 2, which starts with a slow-paced character creator and tutorial dungeon that doesn't showcase the game's strength. The opening hours involve basic fetch quests and limited pawn companions as systems gradually unlock. The vocation system and world mechanics aren't fully explained up front. Push past these initial limitations and you experience a unique action RPG with a fantastic pawn companion system, challenging monster battles, dynamic world events, and that signature Dragon's Dogma climbing combat that makes fighting huge creatures thrilling. At 14, Silent Hill 2 Remake begins with a deliberately slow walk through fog-shrouded streets that emphasizes atmosphere over action. The opening hours involve puzzle solving and exploration with minimal combat encounters as you absorb the oppressive psychological horror. The pacing feels glacial compared to modern action games. This careful build-up creates unbearable tension that makes every encounter meaningful, with the remake's stunning visuals and sound design creating one of the most emotionally devastating horror experiences in gaming. Finally, at 15, Monster Hunter Wilds throws you into complex weapon mechanics and monster ecology systems without much handholding. The opening tutorials feel overwhelming as you learn gathering, crafting, combat systems, and monster behavior simultaneously. Early hunts can feel clunky as you master your chosen weapon's moveset. Once the core gameplay loop clicks and you start crafting better gear from monster parts, you discover an endlessly satisfying multiplayer experience with incredible creature designs, challenging hunts, and deeply rewarding progression systems.